Hi, I'm Phil Griffin, and I'm Pot of Professor Chef. My wife, Melinda Coletta, who's behind the camera, is the other Pot of Professor Chef. Today we're going to talk about knife skills. The one knife that you need to have in your collection as a cook would be a chef knife. In front of me I have 3 examples of a chef knife. What makes a chef knife unique is the fact that the first thing you're going to do is you notice there's no knuckles touching on the board. So when you're cutting, that's very important. So when you're cutting, you don't hit your knuckles. The second thing you want to notice on the chef knife is the last cut is made here at the heel end of the knife. So what you want to do is when you get that last cut, it's a firm cut on the board. And the second thing that makes this chef knife important is the tip of the bevel of the knife. As you go this way, you're going to cut up and down, and it's going to make things a lot easier. In front of me we have 3 different styles of knives, all basically do the same thing. What I like to point out to people is this knife here, if you bought it brand spanking new, is $35. These knives right here, if you bought them brand spanking new, they're about $150, $160. This knife right here is over 35 years old. It's a knife I got issued to me when I was in Johnson, Wales. And when I'm using the knife, this is a knife I choose to use because it's what's comfortable in my hand. So you don't have to have an expensive knife if you're going to cut. The first thing I'm going to show you how to cut is a carrot. And there's a couple basic things you want to remember when you're cutting. First thing is you don't want to cut and hurt yourself. So what I don't want people doing is taking one of these, pushing down, cutting, and have their hand slide off the end here. That's a lot of stitches and it's very painful. What I want you to do is cut it into manageable pieces. So we now cut this down to something that's workable. Next thing I want to do is I want to have a flat surface. If you cut on a flat surface, less chance of it rolling around and hurting yourself. Now, knife skills. When you're working with this knife, the first thing I want you to do is I want you to have your tip up here on the front of the board. And when you make your last cut, it should be, again, when we talked about that heel. So if you notice, what I'm doing is I'm doing a chopping motion up and down and getting a cut. Okay, you can do this, it works, but it just takes a lot more energy. If I keep on cutting like this, things are a lot easier. Once you get that mastered, then I want you to take the next step, is you're going to take your tip, and now you're going to cut, and you're going to push forward. Now, if you can see, I'm rocking the knife. It's a lot easier, and it's less stressful when you're cutting. So that's the next step in cutting. The last step in using this knife is how you hold your left hand, or your right hand, depending on what your lefty or righty. I take my hand, I curl it up, and my fingertips are underneath, and I'm going to be riding my knife up and down on these main knuckles right here. Now if I do that, if I keep the knife holded up against there, I don't have to look at what I'm doing. I can just keep on cutting and not worry about cutting my fingers. Okay, that is the last step on how to use a chef knife. Now once you learn how to use that, things are going to be a lot easier. Now I tell people, do whatever's easiest for you. Okay, practice with the up and down chopping motion, then go into the rocking motion, and then work on guiding your fingers with your knife. Hold your knife back here. That's okay. I have no problem with people doing that. But just practice. Now, another cut you can do with the carrot is you make planks. Okay. Then we turn around and stack the planks up. We now have a julienne. Okay. Johnson Wales will probably fire me because they're not all even, but that's the idea behind it. Then you go back with the julienne and you make diced. The people always ask me, how big should I cut? I mean, that's a nice fine dice. That'd be good for a nice cup of soup, very brothy soup that you want to fit onto a soup spoon. I always tell people, think of how you're going to eat the onion chopping, and that's how you should cut. Okay, that's the carrot.